All right, so the NDP, a political party in Canada, the New Democratic Party of Canada, had a little convention from the 27th to the 29th of March. They just concluded. So I thought that we would take a look at some of the things that they got up to during this convention of theirs. It seems like it's been all the rage on social media, so let's get into it.
I see that we are 1 minute ahead of schedule, and so I'm going to get out of here. The balloting co-chairs are returning, I believe. Now balloting co-chairs. There is a point. Let's hear the point on microphone 1.
I'm sorry, just real quick, point of personal privilege. I understand there's very little time and for delegates to speak, but early on the mic, it's hard as a racialized and transgender delegate to sometimes use this card and speak up, speak to somebody in front of me in line and ask, hey, this pertains to multiple intersecting parts of my lived experience. I'd like to speak. I was rejected when I talked.
All the buzzwords.
It's frustrating when these are my rights being directly under attack right now in Alberta, and that a cisgender woman had spoken over me. And I understand her rights are important too. This pertains to her too, but I don't know. I hope that in the future the federal NDP will also have a broader interpretation of the equity cards for speakers. That's all. Thank you.
I will invite delegates to assist me in better using the card by forming a straight...
Oh, she said it, didn't she? Also, that haircut though, hey? That's a little bit, you know, for all their, shall we say, dislike for the nutties and all of that stuff. That haircut does look a little bit German. I'll leave it at that. But yeah, what did she say? Yeah,
forming a straight line behind.
You should have self-censored yourself a little bit better there, man. Lapse of judgment, strange lady.
The microphone with a prominently displayed equity card. If I see speakers ahead of you who are not holding a card prominently, it would be wrong of me to guess about their gender identity, and I will come to you. This applies so far, according to your rules, for gender identities other than a dude, but it is open to us to change our rules as we like as we move forward into the bright and golden future. Thank you, friends. Let's hear the balloting co-chairs.
What golden future? The dystopia that you guys want to create.
I'm directed to a point on microphone 3.
Point of information. I'm not sure if it's appropriate for me to bring a point of privilege around an emergent issue with some job loss in my workplace.
If it is impairing your ability to participate in the meeting, it is a correct point of privilege. If you'd like an announcement to be made from the stage, we can arrange for that, and then the delegates can hear it from here. Not right now.
So, okay, bring it to you.
Bring it to me.
Thank you.
We'll find a way.
Good grief. What is going on? And this is a legit political party. What is happening? How did these people even get into power?
There's a point of privilege on microphone 1, then we'll go to microphone 3. Go ahead, delegate.
Right.
Yes. Hello. I was standing here with my gender equity card before you called on the previous speaker. That's my point of privilege that I would like to raise.
I will explain the speaking order, which is fixed, that I cannot amend, which is the pro-con rotation. You can move yourself up a line that you're standing in.
I am pro, and I was...
We went...
You went pro, con...
We went pro-con, pro, and my plan was to go con. The speaker at con mic 3 also has a speaking card.
Yes.
So, what was the whole point of this convention? I don't understand. It just seems like the whole point of the convention was just them bickering and arguing amongst themselves about this nonsense.
Yesterday, this card was used in an inappropriate manner.
Oh,
and while I understand in Ontario, we know this is equity, even if this was also used inappropriate in terms of gender. I want everyone to be mindful.
So the pink cards are okay. So it's obviously all the different colors of the cards represent different things. So what, did somebody like use the pink card to represent something else incorrectly? Jeez.
I want everyone to be mindful that these cards for individuals like myself who identify as a black woman have no value outside.
What do you mean identify as a black woman? What else would you identify as? What is going on?
Outside of this space.
What?
There's a point of...
What else would you identify as? Objectively, you're a black woman. What? Jeez, like, I don't understand really. And this is a political party. Alright, just
microphone 2, are you on this
good.
resolution?
This one, this
Yes,
is
microphone 2, please.
She's got the thing on.
My name is Mastura Tasneem.
Look at that guy. Jeez, like, okay. He looks like he's having a great time. He's got the Biden look about him.
Pronouns are she, they. I'm from Ontario. Hello, bonjour. As we conduct this convention today and the past 2 days, right now there's discussions of 10,000 American men and women being sent to Iran, being deployed just to be part of this blood.
No, do they really care? Do they really though? Huh? Do they really? Come on now.
Canada cannot and will not be part of the legacy of blood that was built in Iraq, in Palestine, and now in Iran. This is a no question debate. I call this question, Madam and Chairs. Thank you.
Your point's quite well made, Speaker. I'll again thank delegates not to call me Madam Chair or Madame la Présidente. I'm a non-binary person.
Oh, and this is what happens. This is why they self-censor so badly, because you have to be in lockstep all the time. You cannot falter. You know, don't get it wrong. Don't get it wrong. You're gonna be excommunicated from the religion. Oh man. Yeah, you can check. She's salty now.
Chair or Madame la Présidente. I'm a non-binary person. My pronouns are they, them, and their. Chair is sufficient.
Sorry, Madam.
And with regret, you've spoken to the resolution. It's not open to you to also call the question. If the question is the will of the House, someone else must call it, because we heard from you in substantive debate.
Oh, you.
Okay, I was not aware.
Weird rule. Microphone 4.
Yes, thank you. My name is Fred.
Jeez, like, she just roasted that one, eh? Crazy. Okay, one more. Let's do one more.
It's a point of.
Go ahead.
It's got point of privilege. The microphones seem really low today. It's hard to hear everyone at the mic. Between the background noise and the volume in here with the microphones, it's really hard to hear. And the closed captioning also is slower to make it hard to keep up with what's going on.
Like...
Thank you, delegate. I have a hearing impairment, and I'm struggling to hear the delegates, and I know that you are too. Let's have some order. We'll hear from the delegate on microphone 1, please.
I did want to bring attention to the fact that my fellow delegate is holding the gender parity cards.
Let's take the microphone to that delegate. We'll hear from them right now. Thank you, Joyce Fowler.
All right, yeah.
She, her.
My pronouns are she, her, elle, and en français. It's going to be really hard to follow Rob Ashton. Amazing speaker. We are a working class party. I think...
We are a working class party. Absolute lies. There is no way that these people are working class. You can only afford this type of mental ascent or mental descent if you have got a lot of time in your hands to concoct these weird ideas in your brain. Working class. If you were working class, you wouldn't have enough time to, first of all, wherever you got this from, geez, like, I don't know, some some costume store or something like that, you wouldn't have the time to go around looking for these speciality custom pieces that you've clearly got, and you certainly wouldn't have the time to create all these funny fantasy notions in your brain. And nah, come on, man, come on. This is
most of us in this room are behind that, and while we can debate on the specific words and who is and isn't included, I think our Constitution needs to recognize that. And I also recognize I'm sorry, I'm speaking way too fast. Let me slow down for the closed captioning. I'm so sorry, I get excited.
Jeez.
It's a point of privilege. The closed captions for this convention are running between 6 and 10 seconds behind. So it's just a request for the chairpersons to be aware. And when you move to a vote, I'm still reading the debate. So if we just take a little pause, that would...
I suppose one good thing to look at it as, you know, because they bicker and argue so much amongst themselves about such irrelevant stuff, I don't think they'll actually end up getting anything done. Like, I mean, I clearly understand that they've got probably very diabolical agendas that they want to push in regarding to destroying the West and destroying Christian values. But the fact that they get so touched about the most mundane, irrelevant things, and they'll spend an entire convention, it seems like, just bickering and arguing about such irrelevant things, I don't think they'll actually ever be able to actually fully realize their destructive plan for the West. So I guess that's one good thing, I guess, right?
We appreciate it.
Okay.
Yes, bonjour, hi. My name is Parker Tian. I'm representing Vancouver Quadra. Just to reply
CCP.
my Francophone comrades' point of privilege earlier, as you can see, I do have one of the translating device. However, I like to raise this to the chair's concern that the sign-out process for this device is not necessarily the best, because it requires you to fill the form and give a piece of your ID, and most people don't even know where to get it, which is behind the registration table. And also, like, they don't have enough pens when we're there, so there was a very long line up. Also, for the device itself, because it's using infrared technology, you have to kind of...
Infrared? Who uses infrared? Latest technology? What?
...of, like, position, so it can receive the signal.
It's a point of...
Go ahead.
I don't understand. Okay, yeah, that's enough of that. Okay. Yeah, so yeah, there's a whole bunch of this stuff on X. That's crazy. But on to more weightier matters, I guess. So, as we know, us who are Christians, we've entered into Holy Week. Jesus Christ, the cross, a time of reflection, a time of recognition of what our Lord did for us, a recognition and a very serious time in Christianity, or at least it used to be. So, this Pope, at it again, always with the liberal agendas. So Pope Leo has said, God rejects the prayers of leaders who wage wars, and they have hands full of blood. In Palm Sunday address, without naming anyone specifically, he has been more and more critical recently. Another one. The heart of the church is torn by the cries rising from places at war, especially from Ukraine, Iran, Israel, and Gaza. I do notice that there's no Nigeria there. We must not grow accustomed to war. Let us instead reject, as a temptation, the allure of weapons. War is back, in vogue, and a zeal for war is spreading. The principle established after the Second World War, which prohibited nations from using force to violate the borders of others, has been completely undermined. Peace is no longer sought as a gift and a desirable good in itself. Instead, peace is sought through weapons as a condition for asserting one's own dominance. Yep, This gravely threatens the rule of law, which is the foundation of all peaceful civil coexistence. Explain that to the Muslims. Explain that to the Muslims in the UK. Explain that to the Muslims in Europe. Explain that to the Muslims in America. Explain that to the Muslims even here in South Africa. He would know. They're in Italy. They're in Italy too. What would he say if a group of Muslims decided, oh, I don't know, one day let's go ahead and storm the Vatican? I'm pretty sure he would have something to say, and he would definitely be crying for some strong men to come and deal with these Muslims. Again, you can just go ahead and look throughout history. If it wasn't for the Crusades, again, the Knights Templar, the Knights Hospitaller, and all the monk crusaders, they were monks, pious monks, who pushed back and repelled the forces of Islam. If it were not for those violent, pious men, there would be no Vatican where he could go sit in. There would be no even idea of the Pope anymore. There would be no idea of Christianity if men of the faith, if people of the faith who hold firm and held firm to their strong Christian convictions about defending the faith stood up and repelled faiths that were antithetical and hostile to Christianity and to Israel. He's continually quiet about Nigeria. He does seem to have a bend towards always pulling soft when it comes to Islam. You know, when this Pope got elected, inaugurated, put in his position, whatever you want to call it, there was kind of a little bit of hope in the sense that he did seem to have a few stronger stances, as opposed to the prior Pope. But the more you look at him, the more you hear what comes out of his mouth, it's more akin to universalism. It's more akin to, you know, we can all just kumbaya, and we can all just get along. You know, interfaith dialogue is, according to what it seems he's attempting to say, it's the interfaith dialogue is not necessarily between Christianity. And when I mean Christianity, I'm specifically talking about Catholics, Protestants, and Orthodox. In my understanding, that is interfaith dialogues. Those are the dialogues we really should be having. That's the dialogues we should be discussing, because there's too much infighting unnecessarily within Christianity, which is causing really just more harm than good. But it does seem like he's got a bend towards interfaith, with the idea of that all faiths are the right faith. And again, I brought it up before, it is this, once again, this pernicious Vatican II style dogma and spirit of the age, so to speak, that has crept into the church, not just the Catholic Church, but also, man, the Protestant churches are rife with it as well. I don't know too much about the Orthodox Church. I can't really speak about that too much, but yeah, I honestly, it's getting to the stage where you honestly don't know who he stands for. War is never inevitable. Weapons can and must fall silent. For they never solve problems, but only intensify them. Those who sow peaceful endure throughout history. That is not true. That is objectively not true. It's exactly the opposite. Those who sow peace will endure throughout history, not those who reap victims. Oof, that is very deceptive. Others are not enemies to hate, but human beings with whom to speak. We've you know, he's attempting to bring up the whole Iran thing, right? If you've been following the whole Iran history, you know, for the decades and decades, they've tried diplomacy. They've tried diplomacy many times, at the costs also of many Christian Iranian lives and attacks on America. Tragic attacks. It didn't work. And yet still the mentality is no, we must double down. We must double down. It's a dangerous game, and we can't do this anymore. We can't do this. This here is going to effectively destroy the West. This mindset. It needs to be rooted out. It cannot carry on. I mean, you're basically saying that Jesus, in a sense, simply just wanted us to become doormats. You know, just become doormats. If enemies attempt to take you out, just allow it. No. And then lastly, yeah, we also got the new Archbishop of Canterbury, a woman. Yeah, it's incredible stuff, man.
Holy Week invites us to slow down and look closely at Jesus.
True.
In these final days of his life, we see not only what he suffers, but who he is and what it means to follow him. We see humility. Jesus does not cling to power or status.
Jesus does not cling to power or status, but acts in humility. Would you, in humility, be willing to lay down your power and your status, your position? You probably wouldn't. You probably wouldn't. Because you have been elected to a position unrightfully, and you won't follow Christ's example. Especially when this is clearly not in the Bible. Jesus wouldn't be blessed by this. And yeah, I think it's just, we should have never allowed it to get this far.
I solemnly commit myself before you to the service of the Church of England, the Anglican Communion, and the whole Church of Christ throughout the world, that together we may proclaim the gospel of Christ, who reconciles us to God and breaks down the walls that divide us.
Let us greet our newly installed Archbishop.
She should have never been given the opportunity to get that position. There's no biblical reference for this. None whatsoever. Neither new or old. There was certain instances in the Old Testament, granted, where women were elected due to specific reasons. But in the New Testament, no one becomes a pastor. No woman becomes a pastor. No woman becomes a bishop. No. It's Yeah, man. And this kind of ties up exactly with this. If the church allows it, as much as I know the atheists are, they're going to get touched about it, but at the end of the day, the world will always follow the church. If we allow it in the church, eventually the world will follow suit. That's why, we can, to a degree, the West can sort out the stuff. You can deport all the immigrants, you can deport all the migrants, all the crazy Islamists. But it's this whole idea of atheism and this Christophobia that is so prevalent among atheists now. Like, it's not just simply let Christians be. It's actively hostile towards Christianity. People tend to overlook that. It's not going to change. It's just going to carry on the same. You'll still have the idea of the atheists setting themselves up as the moral superiority, far more moral than the pesky, backwards, archaic Christians. What do they know? And it will just carry on. It has to be dealt with. People need to come to Christ. People do. And sure, there's ways and tactics, and it's definitely not about beating people over the head and stuff, but it's also definitely not condoning sin. It's not condoning to the level that we've condoned. There is objective truth. There is objective right and wrong. Yeah. But anyway, that's pretty much all I got for you. We'll check you on the next one. Cheers.